Welcome to Parallel Lines Cut by a Transversal. What the heck is a transversal? Hopefully we know what a parallel lines are already. All right, so here it says fill in the missing angles using the rules of vertical and supplementary angles. Okay, so let's look at this. It says this one's 65, right? There's a vertical angle right there, so that has to be 65. And right, this one over here, A, has to be, they're a linear pair, so we're going to use 180 minus 65. And what is that? 150. Is that right? 115. Yes. So this one here is 115. So C is also 115 degrees because it's vertical to A. A and C are vertical to each other. B and the 65 are vertical to each other. And then A and 65 are adjacent and so on. Well, it's exactly the same pattern here, right? We have another 65. We call this a corresponding angle, a matching angle to the other 65. So H is 65, and if that's 65, this is 115, and this is 115. And this is a very special picture. This is, in fact, parallel lines. And the way we show parallel lines is with this little symbol here. Those are parallel lines. I now know that, and you will know that in a second. And when you cross parallel lines with another line, this one in red there I just sort of made a mess on, is the line crossing the parallel lines. When parallel lines are crossed by a transversal, that's what that line is, they make this pattern that you see here, where all 8 angles are either supplementary or the same. So what is the transversal here? The transversal in this picture is line FE. You could have all, right? It's the, right? And now transversals don't have to cross parallel lines. The line that crosses 2 or more other lines, it could cross 3, 4, 5. A line that crosses 2 or more other lines is called a transversal. So you look at line AB, it only crosses one line. Line CD only crosses one line. The only transversal in that picture is line FE or EF. So again, what's the transversal? You change the picture, it's the same line. Line FE is the transversal. It's the one crossing 2 other lines. Now, once we have that, the next vocabulary word we need to learn is corresponding. Corresponding, not the greatest word, but I wish we'd just use matching, because that's what it means. When you hear the word corresponding in math, in this situation and in many others, it just means the matching one, okay? So we want to find the corresponding angle. So which one matches A? Well, the one in this picture that's the same as A, not the same size, but is the same orientation as A, the corresponding angle, the one in the same spot elsewhere, is E. A and E are corresponding angles. What's the corresponding angle to B? Well, here's B over here. What's corresponding to it? F is the one that matches it in the other section. What is the corresponding angle to C? So which one is in the same spot as C? That is G, is its corresponding angle. And lastly, D, what corresponds to D? Obviously H. Right, so now we have vocabulary for this entire picture, right? The ones that are back to back are called vertical, right? The ones that are next to each other are called adjacent or linear pairs, right? Because these are adjacent angles along a straight line. And now we have this symbol, which indicates that those two lines are in fact parallel. So once you know the two lines here are parallel, and they are crossed by a transversal, you can fill in all the missing information. Because C is vertical to A, so it's 50. B is adjacent because it adds 50 and B will add up to 180, so that must be 130. D is vertical. And it turns out corresponding angles are also the same size. So this one is also 50. This one is also 50. This one is also 130, and this one is also 130. It is that easy. So same thing here. So the vertical angle is 105. The linear pairs are what? 85, no, 75, you have to up to 180. So, right, and so X and Z are vertical to each other. Then we have the corresponding angles. Corresponding to Y is U, corresponding to Z is V, and corresponding angles are congruent. So that's what we're doing here. So this is 75 and this is 115. It is very straight. So there's a lot of ways to figure this out, but we're trying to figure out what A is. And we know this 114 over here. Well, we know W is 114 because it's vertical. And W and A are corresponding, and if A is corresponding to a 114 degree angle, it's also 114 degrees. But that's not the only way you could have done it, right? You could have said that Y is 114 degrees because it's the corresponding angle to the 114, and that A is vertical to it. All right, this is just trying to make the picture more confusing, but this is still parallel lines crossed by a transversal. You're finding the measure of A. Now this time, this one's 114. A is not 114, right? B is the corresponding angle. That's 114. And so A is the linear pair to B. So 180 minus 114, and you get 6, and you get 66 degrees. Is that right? Right. Right, so which angles have the same measure as A? All right, so let's see. C is vertical to it, E is corresponding to it, and G is vertical to E and corresponding to C. So it's C, E, and G. Which ones have the same measure as A? This time it's Y is vertical to it, W is corresponding, and U is vertical W and corresponding to Y. All right, so we're going to use this information to find X. So, right, so let's move this down here. And once to the corresponding angle, and now we have a linear pair. 3x plus 6x equals 180. 9x equals 180. Divide by 9, x equals 20 degrees. Now this time, we're moving this over here, and we're getting to its corresponding angle up there, right? We have 4x plus 6x equals 180. They're a linear pair. 10x equals 180. Divide by 10, x equals what? 18 degrees. So this time, you can move this 25 up there or this 5x down there. I'm going to move this 25 up here to its corresponding angle. And so we have 5x plus 25. I just put it in the normal order we typically do. Equals 180. Subtract 25 from both sides. And hit 5x equals 155. Divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. This is 31. Going a little quick. Let me just 5 into 15, 3. 5 into 5, 1. Yeah, 31 degrees for X. So which angles have the same measure as B? Well, D does. And then corresponding to B is F. And then H. Find the measure of angle B. Okay. So we have a 141 degree angle here. Well, notice that B is not the 140, right? This is much smaller than one. E is the corresponding angle, right? You can also double check the pictures. So this one must be the linear pair, 39 degrees. So let's move X over here. And now we have a linear pair. So we have x plus 40 equals 180. We have 2x plus 40 equals 180. Two-step equation, easy peasy. X equals 70 degrees. What is a transversal? Good question. It is a line, it could be a segment array, but a line that crosses two or more other lines. Now, we were doing across parallel lines, but a transversal does not have to cross parallel lines, but that's what we did today. Good luck with the homework.